But I was going to say, you've played lots of heroes. Was it quite nice to do something like that is the complete opposite and play somebody really dark?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always fun to play the bad guy.
Oh, baddies are the best.
Yeah, especially a fun baddie. Like this is not
Straightforward.
Yes, it's tongue in cheek, and there's a lot to play with here, and the fact that he's a father taking his daughter to a concert. He has a lot of lights and darks, and they're both very extreme. And I kept calling it, Technicolor. Like the character was very neon. It was all over the place, and that's fun to work with somebody who wants you to play with lots of different colors.
Why is it more fun to be a baddie? Is it like have you got more freedom as an actor to kind of play with the role, or is it just because it's just so far away from being who you actually are?
Yeah, well, I think it's partially that you have freedom, and partially that you kind of you don't get to use those tools very often as an actor. So like being able to kind of dive into something that's outside of the norm for yourself is also interesting.
It's more like playing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more like playing for sure.
And also baddies always get the best lines.
They do. Yeah.
Those ones just before they. Is it right that this was actually a real life operation and then obviously was turned into a film?
Yes.
Inspired by something.
To an extent.
Okay.
It wasn't to catch a serial killer. It was there were a series of people who'd done some pretty bad things. They were felons or like wanted felons in the States. And this was in like the early 80s in Washington, D.C. And they set up this sting operation basically saying they could have free tickets to this football game and then possibly get to the Super Bowl if they came to this convention center at this time. And there were cops dressed up like cheerleaders and cops dressed up like, people, like mascots from the team. And everybody came to collect their tickets and they all got arrested. And Knight thought it was the most hilarious thing ever. So he decided to write the script.
That's hilarious.
It is funny, yeah.
And you've said that working with the director M. Night is one of the greatest things that you've done, career-wise.
Yeah, no, I love working with original filmmakers who write their own scripts. He produces his own films. He directs and writes, and he also funds his own films. So he is the only authority on set, so I get to talk to him. Yeah. All the answers are there. We can change things if we need to. It's a luxury. It rarely happens,
so there's no studio. I mean, he sells it to a studio once he's made it.
Yeah.
God,
and he's been doing this for the last 10 years or so, and it's been really successful. And it's unusual. And every once in a while, you get to work with directors in our industry that have that sort of clout within the studio system, but it's very rare. And when you have that, it just adds to this sense of freedom that we were talking about before.
And when you have his name on it, you're going to get something special. I mean, we'll give a bit of backstage insight, but normally we are sent the films and they say watch them in advance. But this film, they're like, no. Don't let them watch it. Because they want to keep it secretive.
Or is it one of those ones like Psycho where there's a thing you mustn't tell?
Well, it's not. There's a lot you mustn't tell.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. Josh, in that clip there, we just saw kind of your character with your on-screen daughter.
Yes.
But also on stage, there's another actor essentially. But this is a real-life concept. This is not like green screen or anything, is it? This is exactly where the film is set, and it's a real-life concert.
Yes, and Salika Shyamalan, Knight's daughter, she plays Lady Raven, and she does the concert.
Oh.
And she's a fantastic singer-songwriter herself.
Talented,
She does more R&B work in her own releases, but as Lady Raven, it's more pop.
Wow.
And it was a real concert. There were thousands of extras there, and they all had been given the CD beforehand, so they knew CD. How old am I? They were given the music beforehand. They were given the 8-track, and somebody had to run. Exactly. So anyway, I'm old. That was the point of that.
Streaming, we call it streaming.
But you know what? We think you probably got big dad points because you took your daughters to see Taylor Swift, didn't you, on the Eras tour?
How could I not?
Oh, so did JJ,
I got some points on the board too. I got some good points on the board,
I mean, there were 89,000 people there.
Insane.
Feels like. Yeah. And there were how many concerts? It seems like a lot of dads.
Tons.
There's been a lot. There's been a lot.
So brilliant. Did you go, Alan?
I'm the only person in the world who's not seen Taylor Swift.
Well, she's back in August.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll give her a go.
Although she came to see you, I hear.
Yes, she did. She came to see me. She came to see me when I was in Cabaret on Broadway the last time, and I was furious actually because they brought her in through the stage door. The company manager was a big Taylor fan, and I was like, "Why are we not going? What's happened?" The pre-show and everyone. Kind of the mood was killed, and then she came in, and I remember thinking, "What's going on?" And she came in, she stood right there, but I was about to go on, I was like, what the hell's Taylor Swift doing backstage here? She's like, hi. I was like, hi. And then she went in and everybody was like quiet. And so the mood of the show was kind of a bit lost at the beginning, so I was kind of furious. And then, of course, afterwards, she was like the nicest person in the world. I was also furious. She was so gorgeous. And when she saw my husband, and she said to him, "You must be so proud," like I was his child. But it was she could not be more charming. And also, she's tall, and he's really tall. And so he said it's one of the first times he was looking into the eyes of someone as he spoke to them in my dressing room.
Well, you can watch Trapped in cinemas from the 9th of August.
Okay, we have had loads of messages.